My name is Tracy Grunfelder, and I work for the Office of Forensic Mental Health Services. Thank you for joining us today on the Jail Technical Assistance Learning Events. Today we have a good presentation. It's called Who is WASPC? Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. We have a couple of dynamic presenters. We have Rick Bishop, who's the WASPC Jail Service Liaison. He was a former Chief of Corrections Deputy at the Clark County Jail and is the expert witness in local jail operations. We also have Curt Lutz from WASPC Jail Program Coordinator. He's retired jail commander from the City of Kent of Corrections and Chelan County Corrections. He also works with Apple Health Management Care and organizations. Like we got somebody else, Karen Smith. Okay, so with that, I'll turn it over to Rick, and if everybody else could turn off your cameras and mics during the presentation, and any questions you have, feel free to put in the chat, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Take it away, Rick.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, let me confirm that you can see the slide up there that says Washington State Department of Health Services. Yes, no, someone nod their head or someone give me a thumbs up. Curt, I can see you. Can you see the slide?
I can see it. Looks good.
Okay, thanks. All right. My name's Rick Bishop. I'll do introductions a little bit more with a slide here in a moment. Thanks for giving us the opportunity today to share with you what and who WASPC is and giving up your lunch hour. I certainly hope you didn't give up lunch. I'm hoping you're sitting at your desk, sitting back and just following along and eating. So I can see a couple of jail administrators in the room, but a couple questions so we're all speaking the same language, and put your answers in the chat. And by the way, those of you who've endured me know that if you see me and if you answer my questions, I bring candy. Most people in their backpacks or their briefcases carry computers and stuff like that. I carry big bags of candy. So if you're in the chat, you answer my questions, and I don't even care if you use the chat. You can just come online and answer. You can hit me up when you see me next, and I'll throw candy at you. And I really will. If you attend our conferences, I bring big bags of candy. And he who throws the candy buys what he likes, and so it's mostly Reese's peanut butter cups. All right, couple questions for those of you who are not jail administrators. What's the difference between, hey, thanks for the feedback, folks. What's the difference between a jail and a prison? Jail administrators, you don't get to answer. Those folks from DSHS or anybody else here, anybody got an idea? I'm going to sit here until someone answers me.
I have it. I know.
What is it?
So the jail is where you go when you first get your first charges for arraignment and stuff. And after you're sentenced, you would go, if you're for a longer period of time, then you'd go to prison.
All right, for a bonus peanut butter cup in the future. What's that longer period of time?
I think it's over a year.
Excellent. We call it a year and a day. Excellent. There we go. Someone else answered there. All right. Now, there are by NIC and ACA, which I'll give you those acronyms in a moment. What size of jails are in the United States? There's there's 4 different types. There are small, medium, large, and mega. Small jails are how many beds, roughly? Anybody? Give or take. I'll take within 5.
40?
Come on. Nope. Keep going.
25.
45. Okay, it's 50. It's up to 49 beds as a small jail. 50 to 249 is a medium. 249 to 999 is large. And then at least this classification, mega, is over 1,000. If you go to NIC, their megas are $24.99. What are the majority of jails in the country? Small, medium, large, or mega? Come on, somebody.
I'm just guessing large.
Small. Most of your jails, there's about 3,500 in the country, are under 50 beds. Small jails, which is one of the reasons why we're talking today is resources, those small jails. I mean, there's 2 people working, maybe 3. And regardless of the size of jail that you're incarcerated in, you have the same constitutional rights as those large jails. a lot of our larger jails in the state, and most of them are small and medium, but larger jails in the state have 24-hour medical. They have an RN at the door. Well, you have the same right and expectation, and jails have an obligation to provide the same services in small jails. And that's why you've got WASPC. Okay, last couple questions, and I'll stop this part of it. What is an ALOS? Ooh, come on, someone turn the mic off. Hey, Bill, what's an ALOS? You can help me. Didn't mean to call you. I didn't tell him. Maybe he's not. He's probably eating. All right, ALOS, average length of stay. So when you come to jail, most people get out in the first 72 hours. Bail, recog, drop charges, what have you. Average length of stay in the United States by the Bureau of Justice Statistics is 32 days in 2023. That's the last time we had stats, is 2023. 32 days. In the state of Washington, it's 16.7. So if you come to my presentations, everyone knows I start out with trivia, and then I work into our presentation after that. So when you see me, ask for candy. I'll take care of it. First thing about my presentations is I don't read these to you. I do not sit through, or you do not have to sit through, like some of you have, a federal presentation, not saying which agency, starts with F, ends with I, meets at the Hoover Building. And what they'll do is they will send you a bunch of context, hundreds of pages, then they'll put the slide up in front of you, they'll read the slide verbatim, and they'll go to the next slide and read it after that. So I don't do that. I figure you're adults, and you can look at the slides, and then we'll send them out later. And it is a PDF. I'm goofy enough in person. You don't need to read what I write to myself. And Curt has seen those. He's laughing. You don't need to see what I write to myself to remind myself what to say. With that, here we go. Tracy already covered a little bit about my background. I was the COVID programs coordinator. I spent 3 days in retirement. The phone rang, and WASPC called in 2021. And I came on as the COVID-19 and MOUD services coordinator. That lasted about 14 months, and I moved after our tragedy into the WASPC Jail Liaison. Before that, I spent 37 years full-time, over 40 years with Clark County. Had a couple facilities and a lot of staff. Since I can't sleep, I went into consulting and did risk identification and mitigation for insurance companies. And then they asked me to start doing expert witness work. I have now curtailed everything but my single exclusive contract with WASPC. And that's who I work for now, and that's the only people I provide services for. Curt, you're up.
Thanks, Rick and Tracy. Yeah, as Tracy said, I have 27 years experience with the City of Kent, 6 years as the director at Chelan County Regional Justice Center. Rick called one day needing help with COVID and MOUD, and I graciously took that position, and COVID finally stopped the grant, and now I'm managing the MOUD grant for 4 jails, Puyallup being one of them. Wayne, I see you on this call. Stevens County, Ferry County, and Lincoln County are the others that we provide that service to right now. And okay. I do dabble a little bit in Apple Health, so I have a little bit of experience with all that stuff, including waiver and all that also.
Thanks, Curt. Every class has to have its objectives, so we're going to talk briefly about who WASPC is, our mission, services we provide, and then our current goals and objectives. And then I'm going to leave you about 5 pages of resources when we're done. And we'll talk about those briefly. So what is WASPC? We've been around for 60 years. Our formal membership, our voting members, consists of elected sheriffs, appointed sheriffs, and appointed police chiefs in the state of Washington. Our membership is more than just that, because it wouldn't be a very big organization. We have what's called associate memberships, which is a bulk of our members, and that's the command staffs or executives. in those police departments and sheriff's offices. Before I retired, I was an associate member, as was Curt. We are governed by and directed, our daily operations are directed by a board of elected members, sheriffs and police chiefs, who meet per our bylaws and conduct the business of the organization. We are an entity. We are unique that we are recognized and actually recognized and were formed by the RCW 3628A. It outlines our function and it outlines our mission and our entity. We are also a nonprofit. We also pass through some grants. Some of the ones you may have recently seen or heard about are body cameras for patrol and for jails. Not as much for jails, but patrol. And then MOUD, as Curt talked about. We also do training conferences, technical assistance in agencies, and we run an accreditation program, but more about that in a moment. Our mission is to provide collaboration or leverage experience and knowledge across the state. As a jail official, I didn't like reinventing the wheel. And if someone had a better way of doing something and they had a document to show me how to do it, I made sure my staff was all over it. And that's what our biggest function is we provide a forum for sheriffs and jail administrators and chiefs of police to share information and improve public safety and the safety in our communities. And we're starting to move into public health, or at least collaborating with public health. Some of our services, and this is not an exhaustive list, I will give you our website at the end of this, and you can take a look at all of our services, and there's about 30. And then if you click on the links on those services, you can get in-depth information. I'm going to skip wellness for a moment, so I want to come back to that. We perform a legislative function, and that is in particular when a legislature hears from a constituent or they have a great idea and they want to pass a bill and it has to do with jails or public safety or patrol, they will ask the pros and cons with us if they want to. And we'll give them the information. Here's the good, here's the bad, here's what we've seen in other parts of the country. Here's what we've seen in other parts of the state. We have LEMAP, Loaned Executive Program. That is for it's usually new sheriffs and police chiefs who take over an organization and larger ones. And they really want to get the nuts and bolts, but they don't have time to get that information. So they'll contact WASPC and we will send 8 to 10 assessors and we will descend on that organization for 2 days and we will leave. We'll give them a brief and then we will give them an 80 to 100 page public document on here are some of the things we found and here are some of the things you may want to address or change. We have the JBIR system, Jail Booking Reporting System. That is a method of tracking who is in and out of jail. It's about 20 years old. It's not as robust as we would like it to be. Most of us, our vehicles aren't 20 years old. Our phones are only 2 years old, so you can imagine how old this system is. But it powers the next 2 bullet points. Victim information notification. Someone who's a victim of a crime, specifically domestic violence or stalking, they can get assistance on their cell phone or through our app, or the app that we have, and they know if and when their perpetrator may be released so that they can have their action plan to take steps to safeguard themselves and their families. The same kind of system, and I'm not as familiar with the protective order, bond protective order, but it's driven by JBIR. Again, when someone is moved, transferred to prison, or getting ready to be released, that information goes to the potential victim, or in that case, the Protect E. We have an accreditation program for both law enforcement and jails, and we will talk about accreditation in a few minutes more at greater length. We have model policies. If you're looking to not reinvent the wheel, on our website, you may be able to find a model policy that's been approved by our board. We have corrections options. correctional options. That's your GPS. Those are the monitoring systems that are out there that you can rent the equipment, or I think you can also buy it from us, but you can get those options so that you have alternatives to incarceration. We have executive recruitment and selection. If you've ever wanted to know where your chief of police or jail director is coming from, Curt's laughing because he and I have both been headhunted, and we both now have burner phones that we use instead of our real cell phone numbers. But we can perform that function for you. As we talked about, we have some grants, and then we do a lot of training. Twice a year, we do a training conference, and that has law enforcement as well as corrections. Corrections this year in 4 weeks will be emergency planning and evacuations. Last year, a wildfire threatened a jail in the state, and we had their plan wasn't as up to date, so we were able to get them the assistance they needed if they had to evacuate. So this year, everyone's bringing their fire evacuation plans and emergency plans, and we will tabletop them with the assistance and direction of the Washington Department of Corrections EMS folks. They have graciously offered to do the 8-hour course, and we will be improving those plans. Jail services. As we talked about briefly, I'm going to go back. Sorry, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to anyway. Officer Wellness app. We just had another suicide of a police officer here in Southwest Washington a couple of days ago. This app is around the state and it's on my phone. It's on most people's phones, and police officers, public safety officials can track their health. We just had a physical fitness challenge recently. They can get mental health help, and they can reach out to somebody. It's important. Addiction and suicidal thoughts are on both sides of the badge. I don't care how big or small your agency is. I don't care what organization you work for. If you don't have someone with a chemical problem, you're fooling yourself. You're in a deeper place than just a denial in Egypt. So we provide that service to anybody in the state in public safety, corrections. I believe dispatch is even on there now. If you want to hear horrible things, you talk to dispatchers. All right, let's continue. Jail services, we do, Curt and I in particular, we will answer questions regarding jails. We've spent the last 2 years on MOUD, MAT, and jail standards. We'll talk about jail standards in a moment. We do pre-LE maps. In fact, next week I'm in Central Washington. I'll spend a day there. I will walk through with the jail administrator. I don't write a report. I don't want to be, just because I say it doesn't make it something they're going to do. So it's not a report unless the sheriff wants one, and then we bring in a LE map. But I'll walk through and make suggestions based on my experience good and bad. And one of the things I tell people that Curt and I, if we haven't seen it done or done it ourselves, good and bad, we know somebody in the country that has done it, and we can get those resources for folks. Curt is running the MOUD program. We do a lot of technical assistance. In fact, I'm talking to a jail in southern central Washington this afternoon. They've got questions, and I'll get them whatever resource they need. On our website, you'll find Prison Rape Elimination Act information. You'll find classification. You'll find MOUD and MAT, and you'll find other services that we provide. We do conferences twice a year. Corrections has its own track now. We have several overlap classes with patrol, but we have a dedicated corrections. We do a bi-monthly jail managers meeting, which has become just about our bread and butter. It started back in COVID, where jail managers got together with doctors and nurses and shared strategies on COVID containment across the state. And that has morphed into a twice-month jail managers meeting on Zoom, where we share new ideas, experiences, and innovations. Also, different folks in state government have figured out that they can get every jail, an audience with every jail manager across the state at least twice a month. Tracy has spoken to our group several times and provided information. So we provide that to folks who want to get the information out. Thanks for the thumbs up. It's pretty tightly run. We will give you 20 minutes. We will ask you to keep it to 20 minutes unless there's something huge. The 1115 waiver was huge. They got several sessions. And then we will get your information out to the membership. In addition to the bi-monthly meeting, we have a confidential DL that if you've got something you want to go out to jail managers or you need feedback, we can send that out and then have those responses directed back to you. And then lastly, Curt and I do orientation for new chiefs of police and sheriffs. Every 2 years, every 4 years, we meet in Olympia and we will provide that service. We are starting to look at doing that service for new directors as well. Our executive has asked me to look at that. One of the things that is unique about WASPC and why we do the new sheriffs, excuse me, chiefs of police and directors is our SMEs. We have an office building full of people who do analysis and office work and payroll and all that. But we have contract SMEs who are retired sheriffs, chiefs of police, and chief deputies and directors of jails and police departments. Curt and I split the state in half. Curt's on the east side, I'm on the west side. Not only can you get us online, but we can darken your door and show up and help you out. And we do that because we've sat in those chairs. If I get a patrol question, I get a hold of one of the retired chiefs or commanders. They are also on the east and west side, and we hand it off. They do the same thing. When they get a jail question, they hand it off to us. So we provide those new orientations for sheriffs, chiefs, and we're looking at doing directors next. Our current focus is, whether you've heard about it or not, most of the jails have body scanners to try to fight the influx of contraband, specifically drugs. Department of Health had us lower our ability to read the images, and we're working on now how to get that rule mitigated because we're starting to get more overdoses in jails again. People dying in jail is not a good thing. As always, we work on reentry. If you Google up my name, or excuse me, any search engine of your choice, you will find that I'll help anybody break the cycle. But if you just want to victimize our community, I'll find a spot for you. No problem. We have worked a lot on the 1115 waiver. We were the ones they reached out to find out how to get a hold of all the jails in the state. They now run their own webinars and their own Zoom meetings. We attend occasionally just to help out. We're continuing to do our pre-LE maps. I did 2 last week, and I'm doing 1 next week. You can see our training conferences. We've got them planned out through fall of 2026. We are working on jail standards, and we're working with the WASPC committee. Lastly, we're trying to expand our jail services for our membership. And since Curt and I are both retired, we are working also on succession planning for our positions as well. Like I said, I'll have a burner phone when I retire the next time. All right. Going on to resources.
Hey, Rick, there is,
Yeah.
it looks like maybe Tracy was asking about what LEMAP is. Tracy, is that right?
That's correct.
So LEMAP, as I said, we will descend, we can do a LEMAP for a jail, we can do LEMAP for patrol, or we can do LEMAP for both in an agency. And there'll be, if it's a larger agency with a jail and a patrol, there'll usually be 10 of us, and we will show up for 2 days, and we will take the WASPC accreditation standards, which are best practices that our agency puts out there, and we will look at your operation, your manuals, your policies, procedures. We will talk to your staff. We will talk to your inmate population. We will interview your medical. We will look at your patrol cars. We'll look at your transport vehicles. And at the end of 2 days, we will tell you what we're thinking. And then those 10 people will go back and they will do their part of a written report, which comes out to be 80 to 100 pages of things that we recommend that you may want to make improvements on in your organization, or that are really good and you should continue doing them. That gives that new executive a roadmap. And let's hypothetically, they say they need new widgets, and their city or county board budget office says, we can't afford widgets. You just want new toys. Well, this is an independent organization that doesn't have any kind of vested interest. They're suggesting we need 4 widgets. They wanted 10, but they think we need 4. I don't know. And that's the kind of thing we do. We won't go that specific, but we will say, maybe your jail needs to be, you have some issues with your, and we do have a section on capital or your building. You may want to consider X. You may want to consider Y. Or this is why it's a really good building and you were wrong. Does that make sense, Tracy?
It does. Thank you.
Okay. And you've got 10 of us, 8 to 10 of us. Curt and I are going up to Northwest Washington in July. We're descending on it's a medium-sized sheriff's office. We'll be up there for a couple days, roaming around, helping them. We're used to be from the government, but we're still here to help. All right, national resources. I saw one of my former Clark County peers just logged in, so you're going to recognize this stuff. First thing, for medical, National Commission on Correctional Healthcare. Standards and resources, there's their website. Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs, that's our 2025 edition of our jail standards. National Association of Corrections, ACA. Now, let me say that there are no national jail standards. In fact, there are no Washington jail standards. We are still the Wild West. We used to have some really great ones in the 80s and 90s. They were sunsetted, and we can talk about that another time if you want to go into the history of that. But what there is the City County Jails Act under RCW 7048. And under that act, which has a hodgepodge of different things the legislature's passed over the years, there's RCW 7048-071, which says local legislative boards who are in charge of operating a jail must adopt jail standards that meet the minimum state and federal constitutional requirements relating to health, safety, and welfare of the inmates and staff. Read County Board, City Board. And that's who operates your local jails with that hodgepodge of 7048, with state case law, with federal case law, and the constitutions. So these standards, NCCHC, WASPC, ACA, AJA, pick the alphabet of your choice. They are voluntary best practices that agencies will pay for assessors to come in and may or may not get accredited. And then they have to maintain those standards and that level of operation. If you want the case, it's a federal US case that says that they are not constitutional. They are not the constitutional bar. We may say they are, but the only arbitrator of that is the courts. And that's Hoptuit versus Ray. Actually, it was a Washington case that went to the Supreme Court. Kurt's nodding his head going into case law, and Kim's going, oh no, I logged in to hear Rick talk about case law. All right. Next one, National Institute of Corrections. Please note, it is not NIC, it is NICIC.gov. A lot of people get lost in there. That's a terrific online library and source of technical assistance. They have lots of publications. There's one down there on intake screening. Those of you who are medical and are interested, it's an older publication, but it's still good. I still recommend it for folks. We're coming to the end. More resources on strip searches or warrantless searches in jails. There's the RCW. Corrections One has a pretty good website on correctional news and information. Police One does the same thing for enforcement. AELE does a decent law library and case summary. It's not as up to date as it used to be, but it's still got a pretty good taser or electronic weapon, EWDs, Curt, or EW, electronic restraint devices, ERDs. In fact, it's right there on the next one, ECWs, excuse me. And then there's the National Institute for Jail Operations. I'll be down there in June vetting speakers for the fall conference. They also put out a pretty good, Mr. Barnett from Clark County will say they put out a pretty good executive academy too. I'm a graduate of the NIC one, so what can I say? There is, for state and federal national development, you've got NCCHC, ACA, and then NIC's information library again. Sorry, for some reason that got hit twice. I apologize. And then if you really want to get bored, you can call either Curt or myself and we'll talk your ear off or send you emails at the day, all day and all night regarding your question. With that, are there any questions?
Yeah, this is Tracy Grunfelder. Curt, could you go over the grants that you help facilitate or that are available through WASPC at this time?
Sure, Tracy, right now we have the MOUD grant, which is in partnership with the HCA. They give us the opportunity to help small jails. So we have 4 jails right now that are participating. We have a provider that does telehealth. We have there's peer support in each facility, each region, each facility. And I would say we're always looking for small jails to assist with. And the idea is small jails maybe not having all the resources available, provider available, so that we would be able to help them have a program instead of not. And so that's why we're in Ferry, Stevens, Lincoln, and we're also with Puyallup. And I was emailing with Wayne there. There's some questions that I'm going to be working on for him going into cohort 1 with the waiver also. And so if there's any jails that are interested, I would say please reach out to Rick or I, and I would get a hold of them and have some conversation and see what we could do to help. I mean, that, as Rick said throughout the theme of the presentation, we're really here to help and connect and network jail people with others that have questions or need assistance or want to share information. And we're really no different. And all we want to do is help everybody try to be safe and have the programs that they need to have.
Excellent. Thanks, Curt. So if a jail knows there's money available, but they don't have the expertise to actually know how to write a grant or to apply for a grant, you help. Does WASPC help with that? Setting that stuff up and help apply for these grants.
Certainly, and we can get them help with others that have done it, or like with the MOUD, Rick set it up so that it's a very simple process to keep it easy, knowing that small jails didn't have a lot of resources and a lot of administrative time for them to do a whole grant document. So really it's knock on our door, ask some questions, provide some information, and we get started with contracting and trying to get the agency on board for MOUD.
Hey,
thank Tracy, to answer that,
yeah.
We can help with resources, as he said. The MOUD, I actually wrote the grant application. And if someone is out there that hypothetically it's small jail Jones that sees something national that they think WASPC can apply for with our resources, then we can do pass through, and that's what a lot of what we do is pass through the MOUD, and we've done others in the past. We did a lot of. Yep, there we go. We did a lot with COVID. We did a lot of pass through of here's what is out there. Let us know. We'll get the orders in. We'll get it out to you. And that's and then we ended up with MOUD.
Yeah, and that COVID was, I mean, that really was how that worked. An agency would have a need, and we would help facilitate communication with Department of Health and try to find what they were looking for or something very similar, and then help them get it delivered to their facility so that they could use it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Looks like someone, Janelle, I'd love to meet with you, shifting focus of jails. Yep, happy to help out. We're all about reentry. Any other questions?
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is
Yep.
Janelle. We've exchanged emails quite a few times, but nice to see you. And as we, I can turn my camera on really quick, but as we, as we move to the council switching our view and focus and support on prisons, we want to switch it to our jail population. And so we're so excited for 2025 and 2026 to look at ways we can provide these concert of hope and listening circles and really kind of talk with the incarcerated. And I just want to say one thing, Yakima County Jail, first time ever in Washington State Jail, was able to put on a concert of hope, and we were able to do a listening circle in there. It was so powerful, and won't take up any time, but Rick, I'd love to talk to you more about some of the council's ideas or support for jails.
Thank you. Happy to.
Thank you.
Okay, Tracy, unless there's anything else, we don't want to take up people's lunchtime. And we can get out of here.
All right. Well, Rick and Curt, I'd like to thank you for putting on this presentation. I found WASPC really excellent to work with, especially when you want to be able to get messages to all the jails. So I thank you for your collaboration over the last few years I've been working with you. And again, thank you for agreeing to do this presentation. Next month, this kind of goes well with Janelle joining us today, but next month she's going to be doing a presentation. We're going to be moving it back a week, so it's going to be on 5/20. I think it's the third Tuesday instead of the fourth Tuesday. But the name of her presentation is Transforming Lives in Jails by Using the Human Dignity Model. Okay, and so they're going to be talking about what the Reentry Council, what their status is so far on their movement towards working with the jail, how peer mentoring and restorative circles can be used in jails, the importance of trauma-informed care, and she's also going to dive in a little bit about the some success stories, including this concert that she just mentioned for us today. So with that, does anybody have anything for the good of the order? All right. Well, thanks, everybody. And I see somebody. I will add that list to my distribution list. Thank you. And we'll see everybody next month. Have a good rest of the day and stay safe out there. Take care.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.